the only thing I had at the point was to reach out for. And like, I mean, I hate to be like, it was there for me when I needed it, and it was for like 5 minutes, like a week. And then once the addiction starts, it's like, I'm sitting there like, dang, now I'm addicted to fentanyl. Like, that's just another problem that I have to deal with now.
Yeah. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
Got a new episode dropping every Monday and Thursday. Please come check it out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
Thumbs up.
You got the thumbs up.
Dillynn,
Hello.
welcome to the Hopeaholics
Yeah,
Podcast.
yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, really good. Wow.
What the
Shane,
fuck was
what's wrong
that,
with
dude?
you?
Yes. Really
Really
good. Dylan,
I don't know what I'm
that's,
saying. No, I'm sorry. I've been smiling when I say it, so it's all nice. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How
Great
are
to
you?
see you. How old are you?
I'm 18.
Wow. What were you doing at 18?
Try not good things.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was really doing
Right?
good things.
18's
I mean,
it's a rough. I mean,
No,
it's-
you look at it like the 18 is an exciting time because
Yes.
you're figuring things out, and unfortunately, that's where you kind of make a little bit sometimes
foo-foos.
bad mistakes.
And cry and the pain. Like I think I cried when I was 18 or 19 or 20.
you
know?
still cry.
You're right.
we all cry.
Yeah.
Like I had breakups with girls, things like that.
Yeah, you're dealing with what it's like to actually like maybe you've experienced love for the first time.
Yeah, things like that.
Heartbreak for the first time, which are
Yeah.
a lot of emotions that are extremely difficult to kind
Yeah.
of like handle because so much is going on. And plus, I think too, at 18, especially being a girl, like we want to fit in. You want to like, especially right now, I wouldn't know how, because the comparison is so much more real because of our phones and social
Yeah.
media. So you're also now comparing yourself to unrealistic things, because as we all know, social media is an amazing tool, but it's also not real. It's not real life. Like people putting highlights out there.
Yeah.
Because
Social media, in my opinion, is becoming 10 times worse. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on TikTok. I feel like almost everybody that's
Sure.
18 under and a little bit over is, but there's such stupid beauty standards on there, and I feel like it's destroying a lot of women and men. The beauty standards for men are crazy. I've gotten on that side of TikTok where they talk about it, and it's
Really?
awful. And they're making up things. Like, there was a thing called Vuvuzuela arms, and it's like how your elbow looks
Stop.
when you put your arm up. And girls are getting insecure and not putting their arms up anymore. And I'm like, dude, that's... Your body's naturally like I think it's like if your arm indents, like that's what
oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
Do
right.
I have Vuvuzuela? What is it? What was it?
Vuvuzuela arm.
You do. Oh, you have Vuvuzuela arms.
And it's like,
No, I think she means like if the elbow, you know how you can hyperextend
We have it. You have it with me. Me and you have it. Chad doesn't have it. We're Venezuela.
No, but I think you're absolutely right. But where do you
Is it good to have that or bad?
Bad.
they say it's bad.
Oh, bad.
But it's really not, because it's just it's a natural
Part of
body
your-
thing.
part of your thing.
Like, people are making fun of belly button shapes and sizes,
Oh,
and I'm like, how do you determine that?
Right.
It's
right?
it's
who
gotta
sets,
be.
who sets that standard? You know what I'm saying? It's like, where does
Exactly.
that come from? Where like, okay, if we're looking at belly buttons,
Well, listen, hang on a second. Belly buttons has been a topic for many, many years. I have an opinion on belly buttons. I do. Not
yeah,
on
and
elbows.
the opinion would be this: if you have an innie or an outie,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
usually it.
Yeah, but
Now
now
the
it's
thing-
Now
that
it's
is-
like yours is the size of a quarter, mine is the size of a dime.
Mine's a perfect innie. Perfect.
It's got a little fat around it.
but I think it's true where these beauty standards on whether it's for guys or girls, they're these standards that are not only maybe 1% of the population has it, because we're all born differently with different anatomy.
Exactly.
Like we all don't look the same. Everybody has a different chest size. Everybody has a different leg size. Like that's why.
So I just plastic surgeons. Anyways, I was just joking. I was teasing.
That's
I was just
terrible.
throwing something in there.
You're the problem.
I am the problem. So,
It's
Dillynn, I want to ask you something. You're 18. You have 90 days of sobriety.
Yeah. Over
90
or no,
days.
no, I'm almost to 90. Sorry.
Almost
my
to
bad.
90. Almost. That's
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, I didn't leave my home at 90 days. I was too scared to do anything. I was crying all the time.
at 90 days.
Yeah, bro.
I'm highly medicated, so
Are you?
yeah, that
Well,
might change it.
Good for
but
you.
I mean, like I've had my issues throughout the years, so
Yeah.
it helps a little bit. I was a little nervous coming out here, I won't lie, because this is where I used to come
Oh,
down to.
damn.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a lot more comfortable now, obviously, with it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. With getting out of the house and everything, I kind of just have tried to convince myself, like, it was kind of my same thought process in rehab, which I know this is horrible. I was in a kind of bad rehab, in my opinion. But like, I don't want to shelter myself forever because I can't. So if I stay inside forever, it's like I'm going to keep myself from everything for too long. And then I'm going to go back outside. And then it's like I'm going to see somebody drinking. And it's going to be like a mind-blowing thing to me because I've been inside for so long.
I love that thought process.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like
Yeah.
you have the self-awareness to know that the longer that you isolate yourself, the more difficult it will be because you can't do that forever. That is not reality. So then once you go back into kind of society or the real world, then all of a sudden certain things that you'll see might trigger you way harder than if you just start kind of easing your way back into it like you are now. I think that's a good way to think of it. I kind of want to know, like, what made you, take us kind of to whatever you're comfortable with, but what got you to have one of these seats where, I don't think we all want to end up with a seat, but we all got seats too. And now I want to keep my seat.
Yeah.
So kind of walk us through that kind of scenario.
So, I mean, I started using in November. I'm going to kind of run you through that. But, like, I started using, actually, no more of, I've done a lot of drugs, let me put it that way, for how young I am. I started drinking when I was 14. I was in an abusive relationship at, like, 13 years old and then had to press charges at a young age. And a lot went down. So I started using alcohol to cope really fast. And then I got bored once I was, like, 16, 17. So then coke kind of started going around, and then I met somebody that is part of my past. We started doing crack together.
Oh, wow.
And that progressed into fentanyl. And, I mean, fentanyl was, like, everything until I had to get sober for probation because my PO was like, you need to come in. I need to test you next week. So I ended up getting sober. And I get a call from one of my really, really good friends that's been sober for almost 2 years in December. He called me and said, Dillynn, David died. And David was one of our really, really good friends who he spent the night at my house every weekend. He was just very close. And he had a fentanyl overdose. So I kind of sat back and was like, it's really weird knowing that one of my best friends just died from a drug I'm using for fun. And that was when the rehab topic came up to my mom. And I told her, like, I need to go because I'm not going to get sober now. Like, there's no way. Like, I can't cope properly the way it is. And I ended up relapsing. It was really bad. I went out for a while and then went to rehab. And like I was telling you guys earlier, like, I didn't want to be in rehab that long because of the whole I didn't want to shelter myself. And my initial plan with my mom was kind of just to help me detox and find a good meeting to go to. And let's just say my rehab kind of they kind of lied a little bit about what the process was. And I was very sheltered there too, like too much. I don't know how to explain it. It was just overly like, they were very protective. So when I got out, like I was telling you how I didn't think it would be good to be super like, like sheltered from everything.
Sure.
When I got out, my school was going through a perk epidemic, which obviously I did not stay sober too long for that. It was like a week into going. I stopped showing up to school after that unless I needed to do drugs. And my mom started to catch on. So did my sponsor. And it was really, honestly, I think the thing that really is keeping me sober is the feeling of being high for 3 days and then withdrawing
Yeah.
4 more days after that, just because I didn't have money or I had no way to get anything. And withdrawing is obviously not fun. And then seeing how my mom would look at me when I'd walk in the house and she'd see just like how high I was.
Yeah.
That really destroyed me a lot. And I ended up getting sober for a little bit, and then something went down on my birthday. I don't like my birthday. I don't know who really does. I don't know a lot of people that do. And I ended up relapsing on my 18th birthday. It was because I didn't graduate high school because of my using also. And that was a really hard thing to like come to terms with once I got sober, was like, oh, I don't have a diploma.
Totally.
I'm gonna have to do that. And I was out for 2 weeks, and I ended up running out, obviously, as we do, and then waking up one morning and just being like, I can't do this. Like, I'm destroying myself. I'm destroying my family. I am 104 pounds. Wow. Like, this is really bad. And I have friends that are crying to me daily saying, like, I can't watch you like this. And, I mean, even just saying horrible things to people, treating people badly. And, like, I don't know, I was just the epitome of just, like, an addict. I was a horrible, horrible person. And I didn't want to do that anymore or feel that way anymore. And, I mean, hate to be like, I've suffered a very long time, but I've just had a lot of trauma the past few years, and it's been so much, and I don't want to sit in that. I want to learn how to handle it and get better. And obviously using fentanyl isn't going to do that for me as much as I convince myself it is, because, like, it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's just pushing the problem away for, like, 5-10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And then you get sober, and it's all coming back. So, yeah, it was really just the desperation and my family and friends. I didn't want to do that to them, or even them I had somebody who get so angry at me they threatened to start using. So I could see what it's like, and I didn't want that to happen at all either.
Yeah.
I didn't want to watch any more friends go down that. So I ended up going to detox in like a week or two after my birthday, and yeah, that's been that. Started going back to meetings and talking to my sponsor and doing the steps again, which I'm really grateful for because I'm on my 4th step, and it's a lot, but it's helping. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I think it's really courageous for you to come on here and share bits and pieces of your story, because it's really important, especially now more than ever, because of the fentanyl crisis amongst not only our youth, but to anybody that's out there, because it's just like spilling in like nobody's business. Yeah. So the chances of relapsing and then death is like, it will happen.
Yeah. I've kind of, fentanyl's obviously gotten worse over the years, sure. But I kind of feel like when I started using, I kind of watched a rise in it getting laced with other things. Oh, right. And that is when it started happening. I got laced with a lot of, like, I've been laced with Xylazine, and I've been laced with heroin, all of it, like everything. And it's really scary. I watched my ex-boyfriend pass away, like, or die multiple times and then have to revive him. Oh. And like, that's when you're using too, that's not an easy thing. And even just sober, realizing that it's really scary. It kills so fast. And like, I didn't realize that when I started using, sure. Until like you really start seeing it happen with a lot of people. Yeah. And like, the streets are bad. Yeah.
See, it's crazy to think that, right? It's crazy to think that before you even started using, that you didn't know how dangerous fentanyl is, because they've made fentanyl. See, I'm from a completely different generation than you, right? And when I was in high school, the scary drug was heroin, and we weren't gonna do heroin because like you gotta like smoke this black stinky tar stuff on foil, or you gotta burn it and shoot it up, and exactly. We weren't there. But you know what was cool when I was young? Ecstasy, totally. MDMA, yep. Alcohol. They didn't call it crystal meth back then. They called it speed. Mm-hmm. Not really that scary. Cocaine, was not around that much in my era. And nobody did crack because like
The process.
because
Yeah.
the crack was like gnarly. That like
Yeah.
when I was growing up, like it was New Jack City, like
yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Rock
yeah.
smoking crack.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's what I thought of crack.
Yeah, it's not really. I feel like that wasn't really something that's normal for teenagers, at least. Like I haven't. I mean, my friends were doing it because I was doing it, which was really bad. Hated that. But like nobody else I know is really doing that.
Yeah.
Even because I was close with like drug dealers and stuff like that. Obviously, they weren't even doing it. They were like, "What are you doing? That's dirty."
Yeah, like I mean,
Very
Yeah.
judgmental, which is understandable. It's hard.
well, people get addicted to crack, and
That would be
Yeah.
you, sir.
Both of us.
Both.
and they sell their $80,000 Hummer for $7,000.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought it was a good trade at the time.
they get a furniture dolly and roll their furniture down the freaking alley.
It was $250, a good money right there.
Yeah.
It was just
Gotta
going to
do-
waste sitting in my house.
I wasn't using a pillow couch. I had a bed. Oh, my God.
Well, what I want to know is that because obviously we're older than you, right?
Yeah.
So like, and you started using at a
14.
really young age.
Yeah.
So, and you have 90 days right now, which is amazing. And you even having the process of going, because you went to treatment twice, right?
I went to treatment technically twice. Yeah, I went to an outpatient detox.
Okay.
Though. Yeah.
Do you initially, why do you think that you started using because of the first relationship and like a coping mechanism to like kind of not feel
Yeah.
that like heartbreak and weird feelings that you were kind of going through at such a young age?
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't know any other 15-year-olds that had gone to the police about their ex-boyfriend doing. And I mean, it was worse than just domestic violence. I have a charge that they only have on police officers on him.
Oh.
And I mean, he's a very bad person. It's also hard being 15 in high school and having a lot of people tell you this didn't happen to you.
Oh,
And
wow.
all of my friends were like, yo, we're going to go steal this bottle of New Amsterdam. Why don't you come downtown with us? And that was just the easiest thing I had to reach out to. And I had that for a while because my mom didn't really realize what I was doing because I lied it off really easily. My friends and I would practice like at this park, downtown Huntington Beach. We'd practice how to talk to our parents when we'd get home.
Sure.
So that like I could go in there and talk to my mom because we all knew with me, like my mom was the type that's one and done. She had caught me smoking weed before and was like, you're never ever doing anything ever again. And I somehow got out of that. But we knew with alcohol it would be a lot worse. And then she did catch me when I was 16 and threatened to send me to rehab. That was my first ever rehab threat. But yeah, I just really had nobody to talk to except for a therapist, and she had been through it, but no other. It's hard when you don't have a teenager or somebody your age that's like, I understand what you're going through. Like, I'm dealing with the same thing.
Yeah.
And like, I've also tried to become that advocate for people where it's just like, if you're being hurt at home or like with a boyfriend, like you can talk to me, like I'm not going to judge you, like we'll take whatever steps you need to take for that. But not having that was really hard, and like it felt like the only thing I had to reach out to. And then he ended up killing somebody last year,
Oh, wow.
like a year ago today, and that was why I started using hard drugs like fentanyl, because at that point I really had nobody to talk to and I felt very isolated, and it was the only thing I had.
Yeah.
It felt like the only thing I had at the point was to reach out for. And like I mean, I hate to be like, it was there for me when I needed it, and it was for like 5 minutes, like a week. And then once the addiction starts, it's like I'm sitting there like, dang, now I'm addicted to fentanyl. Like that's just another problem that I have to deal with now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like for me, it was like therapy without having to talk to somebody. It numbs you out so much to like, I can't even describe it. I don't know anybody that can either. I feel like it's so different. And I've done other downers. I've done Xanax, like I've done Klonopin and stuff like that. And it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's so much stronger. And I feel like it is pushed on TV and like with the news how bad fentanyl is and how bad it's getting, but I don't really think it's shown enough. And I hate to be like, they need to show, like, I think it's somewhere like somewhere across the United States it's really bad right now with fentanyl and xylazine on the streets. I can't think of where it is.
Yeah, there's somewhere on the East Coast. It's really bad.
Really,
like,
really
I think
bad.
it's like Boston.
It's somewhere over there, but it's not Boston.
New Hampshire, somewhere, or
I think
Connecticut.
Can you guys look that up? Where
That's where The
xylazine
Walking
is
Dead
really?
is.
Yeah, The Walking Dead.
Yeah, it's like the
They
zombies.
literally call them like the zombie apocalypse.
On that street.
I can't even
Personally,
say
St.
the freaking
Louis,
word.
maybe?
Like, I feel like they need to start putting that in the news, though, over here, because we have LA, and I hate to say Santa Ana,
For sure.
but Santa Ana is really bad. I mean, the
yeah.
police, sorry, one thing I wanted to tell you, like, the police, they'll drive by and not do anything. They've watched me pick up drugs, they've watched me do drugs, not off on the street, like, and they don't do anything.
Which is horrible because, man, when I was using those guys, I was going to cuss at them. Those guys used to chase me around,
Yeah.
put me in jail for a little tiny piece of fucking meth.
Yeah,
That's how different life is.
yeah, they don't.
I'll
they
tell you
don't do
what's
anything.
even crazier is that when I was doing drugs, or you, people weren't dying, people weren't being revived, we weren't getting that trauma and that PTSD.
No, it was rare
Rare.
that you would hear
Rare.
somebody die.
Rare.
Sure.
I mean, what's going on now with the kids? I mean, who could even? Let's be honest. If these guys or girls that are going through that are looking for someone to relate to, they're gonna have to wait. Like it's like a beginning right now where that's happening to people. No one's been through it. That generation is just coming up to be therapists now.
Well, that's why I'm saying it's so courageous for you
Yeah.
to come on
Thank
here
you.
to
yeah, that's what I'm
share your
saying. It's
story.
amazing.
Because
Yeah.
all of us know what it's like to want to numb the feeling and to like kind of you say where you feel bad saying like it was there for you at that time, and it is though. That's why we use is because it does give us that like 5 seconds of relief, and then when you become hooked, that's when it starts to be a destruction.
Yeah.
And like then things all of a sudden start like crumbling and life around you is like falling apart.
Exactly.
And unfortunately that's what happens. But to piggyback on like not being an addict, where your kids your age, they're also doing certain drugs because it's part of like wanting to go to a party or try something.
Yeah.
And
the trends online are causing coke addictions really bad right now. I don't know if you guys have seen like it's like the 1 new vape, 2 lines of coke, 3 drinks from the bar. It's a trending like girly pop song,
shut up.
and it's very advertised to kids. Like I can find it and show you guys, or like it's insane. And all it does is talk about coke, and like the Tumblr era is kind of coming back on TikTok. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yep.
I don't know if you guys know about the Tumblr era.
Oh my goodness.
It's just very unhealthy, like body standards and like very just very unhealthy body standards really, and just unhealthy living, and it caused a lot of coke addiction.
Totally.
And just anorexia also.
That's what happens, especially for girls. You're gonna do a drug. Why? So it makes me stop eating.
See, I don't push that. I push athletic figures.
Yeah, I know,
Maryland.
but
Oh,
still.
Maryland.
Sorry, I was reading that.
Oh.
I didn't mean to say it out loud.
What was Connecticut?
Yeah, Maryland.
Connecticut is the next highest.
Wow.
Anyways, it's really bad, and I can't remember. There was
Pennsylvania.
actually
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
It was Pennsylvania.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking
Pennsylvania.
about.
Transylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I think they need to put that on the news here.
Well, here's the thing. The point I was getting to earlier about the heroin. Heroin is, I mean, fentanyl is 50 times more powerful than heroin.
Yeah.
Like, heroin is like nothing compared to
Which is crazy.
fentanyl.
Yeah, I had a point. Sorry if this is too much to be saying on
No.
here, but I had a point where the drug dealer, instead of giving me fentanyl, he gave me heroin. It did nothing
didn't
at
work.
all, and I was so. I mean, the only thing it kept you from was like the pain of withdrawals, not the mental
right.
factor. That's it, and it's nothing at all. And the other thing I think that's forgotten, very like super forgotten, is that one hit gets you addicted to fentanyl, and like nothing else will do that to you really. Like, I mean, people, I think it's like even for people without the addiction gene, or like
Oh, yeah.
people
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that, it's one hit. If you don't die,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're about to be addicted to this for the rest of your life, because there's nothing else like it. And
Yeah.
it's so euphoric.
That's a soundbite right there.
Well,
that's a clip.
it is.
because
It's the same.
that is so important for people
So
to know.
important.
It's one and done.
One and done.
It's the same as crack
Yeah.
when crack first came out, but there's a huge difference. Crack is actually not physically addictive.
No, it's not.
Yeah, no.
Fentanyl
Is.
is physically
Yeah.
addictive.
Yeah.
Now, you won't be physically addicted off of that first hit. You will be mentally addicted from it, but I hate to say this,
Takes 3-4 days.
3-4 days
That's it.
max.
I'd give it 2.
Two?
2
Two.
days
I'll give
for
it 2.
me,
I'll go
and
with
then
you.
my third day, like when I first started, I did it for 2 days, and then the day after that,
Sick.
yeah, I was like, I
Crazy.
need this. I'm calling people. I'm like, please help me right now. And I'm in school, and it's really scary.
The half-life of fentanyl is so short,
Yeah.
which means your high is really short.
Yeah, that was the other hard
and then you
part.
need, and which is like crack, right? There was huge difference between like taking a hit of crack or taking a hit of meth, right? Meth, you hit it in a few times and you're up tweaking. Back in my day, we had these things called VCRs. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. People would start taking those things apart, repairing. Everybody became a VCR repairman. You took a hit of crack. You took a hit of crack though,
Yeah.
and you were fucking looking for more crack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we didn't smoke crack,
While you're exhaling.
Yeah.
right?
While
While
you're
you're
exhaling.
exhaling, I
Where's the
remember
next one?
we'd sit
Yeah.
there for, I think like I timed it one time. We sat there for 6 hours just smoking and making more without doing anything
Totally.
else in between. And I didn't even realize where the time had gone. I'd work the next morning. It was really bad. And like, it's the same thing with fentanyl. It was the same thing for me. It's like one hit and I'm looking everywhere for more, or I'm just like thinking about like, okay, in 10 minutes I can take another one because I'm not going to overdose in 10 minutes, but I'll still get high enough. And it's so bad because with every other drug, it's never been like that. It's one and like one hit, one pill, whatever.
Yeah.
And I leave it alone.
Wow.
But I'd sit there for hours, like in my closet and like, or just like in a dark room, just like on my bed, like crisscross applesauce for like 6-7 hours and then not realize where the time is gone. Like, I don't even know what I was doing half
Which
of
is
the time.
insane.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be crisscross applesauce and then talking about fentanyl. Like, dude, this is crazy shit,
So
man.
Mom's obviously really worried.
Yeah.
Where's your dad?
My dad and my mom are divorced.
Okay.
My dad,
How old were you?
like I was like 2.
2.
Yeah. So I wasn't really there for that. My dad and I we don't see each other as often. I'm staying with him right now and I'm going to be for a few weeks. That obviously changed once I got older, like him and I seeing each other. I stopped seeing him when I started using.
Yeah.
And then funny enough, I started coming back around right before I started doing fentanyl and everything. And then once I started using, my dad noticed because he's an ex-heroin addict.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, obviously he's gonna
Totally.
be able to pick that out. And my mom, she didn't notice because I isolated myself from her, and I had been for a few months by that point. So I wasn't around her enough until like one night, and she looked me in the eyes and she's like, "You're high on meth." And I was like, "Not meth." But she started realizing like around December, like the beginning of December. And then once I started using throughout the school year, it was bad. We were fighting left and right. Like I got sent to my dad's for I think 3 weeks in April, right around her birthday, because I couldn't stop using and she couldn't do anything to get me off. And that wasn't even like pure fentanyl at that point. That was Percocets that were being laced. Like I could not put it down no matter what I did, even at my dad's house, which was horrible of me. I feel even worse because he's an ex-addict and he told me how hard that was for him and everything. But like, it was funny because she told me when I went to detox, she knew I was going to be going, but I didn't tell her. Like, she just said she had the gut feeling that like I had finally just come to terms with it. Cause I have Kaiser Permanente, so I go to Kaiser all the time. And I had just called her and said, "Hey, I'm going to go to addiction medicine. I need to talk to them. I need therapy." And she said, "Is that sure what you need? Like, is that sure that's what you're needing right now? Because if not, tell me the truth." And I said, "Just please let me get there first and talk to the doctors to find out." And when I told her, I mean, she's at work and I felt I was going to wait until she was off, but I really couldn't because it's like they wanted to put me on medication and everything, so I had to talk to her. And her finding out was really rough. Like I kind of just dropped it on her. I was like, so I'm withdrawing from Percocets right now. That's actually 100% fentanyl in my system, and they want to put me on medication. They want to put me on Suboxone, and yeah, I know you're at work, but I need to call you in 30 minutes to come home. And like that was really bad for me to do on her, but like
no, it's not.
Yeah.
And trust me, she's not even thinking like that
that
at all,
good.
because she loves you and you're her daughter, and you're
that's what
actually
mothers are there for.
having the balls to go and get well.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, is as you making that rash decision that you are needing to do something, or else you are going to die. Because that's really like that's how heavy this whole, not only the epidemic of the fentanyl crisis, but like that's what happens to us, is that it is life or death.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy for you that you did have the courage, because so many people, especially at your age, they don't, because they're scared to either call their mom or call their parent, when like, trust me, I'm pretty sure I can speak for 90% of parents out there. They hope that their kid would do what you did.
Yeah, I hope too, because I mean, like one thing I'd want to say to parents is like, if your kid's coming to you as like an addict or alcoholic, anything, like I know it's hard to not get mad, especially if it's fentanyl, but I think that's like the one main thing is you have to remember is if they're coming to you trying to get sober, you have to try and keep your cool, which like my mom, hate to air my mom out, but at first she didn't. And that was really hard for both of us, obviously, because she's freaking out, I'm freaking out.
Totally.
But it's not an easy thing to talk about the way it is, and it's so stigmatized everywhere. My school wouldn't even talk about it that much with me, and they all knew. Like, they all knew what was going on, and they were so scared of it and inhaling it that they couldn't even stop us from getting high at school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so bad, the stigmatization around it.
For sure.
And speaking up on it, it makes speaking up on it so much harder. And I don't know, I wish things would change with all of that, because nobody's getting better.
Right.
I don't know any fentanyl addict that's really sober right now. Like, I'm not in contact with many people anymore, but like word of mouth, they're not clean either. And like, no shame to them. It's just, it's so hard to get help when everybody's so rude to you about it and so judgmental. I had a nurse call me a junkie and make fun of me for being on fentanyl at one of the chalk hospitals.
Really?
Because I was trying to get help with detox. And I was telling them, like, I'm just trying to get help because I'm going to go out again and I'm going to get high, and that's not what I want.
Yeah.
And I told them, like, I don't care if you send me to detox, what it is. And they just kept me on a bed in there.
Wow.
And it was because they didn't know if I had fentanyl on me or if I had touched it recently.
Sure.
And I mean,
they really are like that though. Like, you know, you go to ERs, we take our clients to ERs, and they're just so freaking rude to them.
yeah.
You know, and it's like, I can't stand it.
I can't
like,
either.
You know, wait, and here's the thing, because at this point in time in America, everybody is one person away from knowing somebody that has died. You know, like, we're all sitting at this table. Well, my son-in-law, the reason why this podcast exists is because my son-in-law died from fentanyl. And we are all that one person away, including them. And until it happens in their own home, which I hope it never does. Unless we get out there and really talk about it, and that's why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because it's real, and like you said, it's not getting better, it's getting worse.
So much worse.
You know, I don't know what the numbers are, but like, you know, 2022 numbers was 300 people dying every single day.
Yeah, I think it's up.
It's
gotta
up.
be.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
think it's up to probably, I'd give it the thousands maybe, but it's so bad. And I wish the police would also, and like, I hate to be like that, but like, I really just wish the police would do more about Santa Ana also, especially because out here, like, Santa Ana is really one of the big distribution spots.
It's always been,
And,
even before
Always,
fentanyl.
yeah.
It was where, you know,
used to live there.
everybody gets there.
Yeah.
I used to live there too.
Yeah.
And like, it's so hard to walk out there and see people on the street just like dead. And I know it's worse in other cities, like so much worse, but they won't even try to start with like the smaller spots. like no part of the government will, which kind of sucks.
I mean, they need to start doing something. And I'm not like a fan of like full on criminalization of, people shouldn't go to prison because they're a drug addict, right? Like it was in my era. But if you don't have some type of consequence to the action, then what's the point? Like, I was watching this guy. I follow this guy up in San Francisco. He kind of annoys me, but his shit's pretty good. I mean, he goes around and videotapes all the drug use in San Francisco. Well, a dude's fucking shooting fentanyl right next to a cop car.
Yeah.
Like, he's using the cop car as his shield for everybody else to not see him. And they're doing nothing. And I'm like, man, I see the shit. And like, my son played basketball in Garden Grove on the 22 and Garden Grove Boulevard, I think it is. It is freaking gnarly right there.
Yeah.
Literally cops driving down the street and people freaking nodded out sitting on the sidewalk.
Dude, LA. I was in downtown LA and I'm driving and literally, no joke, a homeboy pulls up next to me on a bike, and on the left hand side, you have a lot of people that are like camping out because they're homeless.
Yeah.
But they're all doing drugs on the side of the road. Meanwhile, you have like dope high-rise apartments that are on the right-hand side. So like the combination of the two is madness, because these people are walking out to like their car to go to work, but yet the guy I'm stopped at the light and the guy is literally using right next to me, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, broad daylight nowadays. Nobody gives a fuck.
Nobody cares. I was in LA also. The other thing too with LA is like, I was in LA with a few people. Somebody had overdosed up there. The way those operators speak to you when they find out it's an overdose is wild. I have never been more disrespected by somebody like with higher authority than me like that. Like, even when I was drinking and getting in trouble with the police, they never spoke to me like that. And it's because there's so many. Like, the fact that their drive time pretty much is like 2 minutes from your call. They're out there within 2 minutes coming to look for you, and because of how bad it is up there, and sometimes they don't even respond. Like, unless I had to scream at like the operator and say like, this person's literally dead and blue right now. If you don't get somebody here, I'm going to lose them, and like, you don't want to deal with me like having like a breakdown. Like, I was just screaming at them, trying to just do whatever I could to get them to like get there, and they finally showed up, and the person was fine. They woke up way before. Somebody finally got us Narcan, and it's just sad. Like, all of it's so sad. The way the police, the way that everybody just like in that type of corporation really cares about it or deals with it. It's disgusting. I know there are some good people.
Sure.
Like, you do have the really good ones that are out there and like calm and talking you through it, but like, you don't know these people and just automatically judging them for like using fentanyl. They may not have even used fentanyl and they're overdosing.
Right. Like,
it's everywhere. Like, I remember hearing about the dollar bills where like people were picking up dollar bills.
Yep.
But you're right with like them just doing it in front of the police.
Yeah.
That's all I've really seen in Santa Ana. Like, that's where I was mainly, like on Harbor Street.
Yep.
Do you know where like the McDonald's in Santa Ana is, or the Starbucks? Yeah. So like right there, it's like I've seen people nodding off. I've seen people dead.
Yeah.
And the police just drive by.
Dude, there's right where my old apartments are, it's right by a 7-Eleven, and people just like pick up right there.
Yeah.
It's right off of you take Dyer, and you like there's a bar right off the like on the left hand side. You keep going straight, whatever gas station, little 7-Eleven, and broad daylight, everything like business as usual.
Yeah.
But I think too, like a big one for me is kind of like breaking the stigma of having the issue. Is a lot of people look down upon it, or at least that's why I was like didn't want to vocalize me working a program, having to get sober, because it was just never really talked about, and it was always looked at more so kind of like as a weakness, as like, oh, you should just stop doing something if there's bad consequences, and then I didn't want to bring like the shame onto my parents, this, that, and the other, the lies that we tell ourselves. And I think it's really important because people are dying and there's no shame in getting better.
Literally.
At all.
Like I had to get past that with, and I think that's why I'm able to do everything I'm doing
Sure.
with my sobriety right now. I had to get past the it's okay to get help
Totally.
with my ex, like without
Yeah.
my whole relationship with that. I had to realize like it's okay to get help, like it's fine, you're gonna get worse if not. And it was really weird because like when I went to detox and I was so open about like my fentanyl addiction
Sure.
and telling my story and just like everything about fentanyl, like everything I know about it too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the nurses were just like, how are you so open about this? I'm like, because if nobody knows, what are we gonna do?
Mm-hmm.
There's nowhere, from like what I've seen online, there's nowhere to go from like the information we have.
Totally.
There's not enough scientific study on it, which is also really, really awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if there would be a lot of other ways to help with it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I mean, really, what else are we gonna do
Yeah.
with this information, and how do we make it better with this type of information?
Right.
And I feel like it's better to hear, like, coming from an addict who's sober, or
For
even
sure.
just an addict who's using, because I have seen some addicts who are on TikTok, like, they'll go people who will go interview them,
Yeah.
and they'll talk about like opiate and fentanyl addiction and just be like, I don't want to be like this isn't what anybody wants.
Yeah.
Like none of us want to sit like this and still be here.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody knows how to help because it's not talked about enough, and
Right.
everybody's scared to get help. I wish there was more ways like to get it out there that like it's okay to be a
Yeah.
fentanyl
Sure.
addict. It's like the thing
not
now.
even, but it's not even the fentanyl. It's more like you said. You started because of
Just
abuse.
yeah,
That's mental health stuff. So I
Yeah.
mean, where was the outlet there? Let's even
Yeah.
start to look at that. Where was that outlet to go to a nurse or to go to a counselor or a guidance counselor
exactly like
or your mom or your dad or someone? I mean,
yeah.
But that's why I think it's so important for like
And the
somebody
peer
like
pressure.
yourself being this young and
Yeah.
having the courage to
Oh,
speak on a
100%. It's
platform like
amazing.
ours, because that's really what our mission is, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to spread the message of hope, that like help is available, help is out there, and all you have to do is pick up the phone and
Yeah.
reach out, because
Mhm.
you're dying inside.
Yeah.
And that's usually why you're using in the first place, is because there's some emotional toll that is going on within you, whether it's from an experience that you had from like a relationship or some internal balance, like drama that is going within your head, that you need some type of outlet. And it's knowing that you're not alone, because usually when we're in there, we think that no one can understand, no one
Yeah.
can relate,
Yeah.
and you'd rather be
Stuck in
miserable
the pain.
inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it seems easier at the time.
hearing like your story, and to know kind of what you've had to experience to get to even where you're at today is going to for sure help a ton of kids your age, because that's what they need to hear. They need to hear
100%.
from somebody that they can relate to.
100%. I'm sorry to say this.
Yeah.
Sorry to
Why are you sorry?
I never give suggestions or tell people what to do, but I want to tell you what you need to stay in this.
Yeah.
You need to help people. You need to get your word out. You need to somehow go to schools. You need to give in your time. That's going to keep you
Sober and alive.
You need to show up
That's
to
what's
our
gonna
Recover
happen,
Out
too.
Loud stuff.
Yeah.
You need to start
I will.
recovering out loud with us.
Yeah, we're in your life, man. We're in your life. You know what I'm saying? You're young. You can be proud of what you did. I'm so happy for you, and you
Thank
could
you.
really change lives out there, just like you said. I think there's a pocket right now, is what I was saying before. I think that people that are using
You're
fentanyl,
not doing very good with your moving around.
I think that
lately.
people that are using fentanyl and dying and coming back from life and being revived, like she said, is happening. That's happening now. Those people haven't, say, graduated to sobriety long term yet.
Yeah, right.
You know, so we're in like a middle of ground where these people are trying to get sober. You're trying to talk to a therapist about what happened. They're like, "Whoa, that's crazy. That's new to me." You know, so it's a minute before someone's going to be there like her that could say, "Whoa, I know, but here's what I did for that." Like, we're in a vacuum right now, it seems. That's just what I'm feeling right now.
I kind of see it too, because like, I mean, the girls that I'm not really supposed to talk about them, but the girls I went to rehab with,
Yeah.
even like, it was there was only like one other girl that was addicted to fentanyl also, and it was really, really hard to get through to her. Like, she was open about it, but not enough. And like she had told me like people have been rude to her and there's nobody to talk to. I talked to one therapist that's not in addiction medicine once I got out of rehab. And I told her like I would really like to talk about my fentanyl addiction and like this stuff, like, or why I'm using drugs, like the stuff that's causing my addiction.
Yeah.
And she didn't even know how to go about it because like drugs were involved.
Yeah.
And when I was in addiction medicine for like detox and everything, when I was talking to those nurses, they were begging me to go to nursing school for addiction medicine also and do stuff like that, because like my main goal for life is I want to open a domestic violence shelter for like one for women and then one for men, because it happens to everybody obviously. And I didn't have that when I really wish I did, but just like one step to help people, like that's really my main goal, like that. But getting into addiction medicine and like specializing in that, I think it's really important for a lot of people because nobody really does. Nobody wants to. I feel like people are super scared of just alcoholism and drug addiction and everything that comes with it, and nobody wants to learn about it and learn how to help people because like for some reason people see us as so much more damaged than like anybody who's also damaged. Like I don't know, it's like you can't compare damage with people.
Well, and I think it couldn't be more further from the truth, because at least people that are actually, or at least that I know of or that I have encountered, ones that are either been to treatment or actively working a program. You mentioned you're working the 4-step. We're working on our recovery and being a better human on a daily basis. It's a daily reprieve where I have a lot of normie people that I've encountered, and they have internal trauma that they continuously don't want to even sort through. And it seeps into business and relationships, and they don't have the toolbox that we learn when we're in treatment and working a 12-step program that we get to fall back on and have self-accountability and clear the wreckage of our past and learn a lot of things about our like own personal character defects so that we don't hopefully spill them into further relationships. So it's like,
or our life.
100%. So it's like, I look at it where it's people that are getting better daily as opposed to just sitting in madness and not knowing what to do with any type of emotion or any type of feeling, where everyone I think would benefit from doing a 12-step program.
I do too.
Everybody.
For sure. I do too, because I'm like on the first part of my 4th step, like and it's like resentments, and even just like realizing how many people that I have like just some type of resentment towards. That's crazy. Right? And it really, just even knowing, like seeing how quickly I wrote their names down, like that really clearly does affect me that much. For sure. And I think it's good for everybody to work something like that, because like you were saying, like there's just so much, we focus on so much of like our defects and all of the things that we're doing that have like caused harm or may cause harm, and we're bettering ourselves this entire time. I don't know, there's so many people I think would benefit from it.
Everybody, there's not a single person on this planet that couldn't benefit from doing the 12 steps, because there's not a single person on this planet that couldn't benefit on working on their internal self. You know, there's nothing more powerful than that. If you think about it, you just wrote down all your resentments, right? Well, how many people? Let's just and I'm not judging anybody, but let's just say the people that are talked down to addicts and alcoholics, right? Well, they obviously have a resentment towards addicts and alcoholics to even be treating an addict and an alcoholic that way. So for them to so like really when these people are being rude to us, or judging us or looking down to us, we as recovering addicts who have done the internal work, we can look at them and we can say, wow, you know what, they have work to do. And they're sick too. You know, their sickness just may not come out in a major symptom of their illness, their mental illness may not come out in as the symptom of abusing a substance.
I'm with you 100%. I agree with
it. Comes out in other stuff. I mean, it comes out in shopping. It comes out in food. It comes out in sex. We don't know what these people are doing behind their closed doors. They might actually also be addicted to pills. You know how many? Because like I've
65%.
owned
Housewives.
drug and alcohol treatment centers for 22 years of my life. The last 20, not the first 22, the last 22.
Yeah.
But I'm older than that still. My point is that there's people that they'll tell me, oh, I love what you do. Where's your treatment center at? And I'm like, oh, it's on, I'm just going to use this address, Paseo Cerveza in San Juan Capistrano.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, that's right next to my house. Then all of a sudden they don't like what I do for a living because it's right next door to them.
Yeah, I've seen that happen with a few people.
They're called, those people are called NIMBYs, and they're that stands for not in my backyard. I love what you do. Just go put them on an island somewhere, and they can get help over there. Fuck that. You know who a drug addict is? It's me. It's Natalie. It's you. It's their mom. It's their brother, their sister, their cousin. That's who the drug addicts are. And we just need to learn how to love people because, like you said in the beginning, I agree with you 110%, man. If you're a parent and your child comes to you and they say that I'm struggling and I'm using, and I don't give a fuck what they're using. If somebody comes to you, if your child comes to you and says they're struggling, you open your arms and say, "How can I help?"
Exactly. Because
how can I help?
You push them away.
Otherwise, you push them away.
I've seen a lot of parents do that to a few people where it's like they've tried to go get help and parents just completely shut off.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude.
Yeah, like.
Do you love your child? Because they don't think you do if you are treating them that way.
I know, but I'm going to play devil's advocate because I feel like that's why having these conversations are so important because knowledge is power. And so for parents you're dealing with, especially if you have no idea what addiction or alcoholism is. This
is 2024. I'm sorry.
No, but I'm just saying because people are so concerned about what other people think and living up to like the Joneses that they don't know. I know, but you understand what I'm saying.
I get you.
And why parents are not so like they don't know what to do, and that's why we exist is so that parents know that like we have treatment centers. Call us today. We can help you. We can walk you through getting your child the help that they need because there is no problem. What will happen is if you do close those arms, you push them away, your child is going to die because that is where we're at.
One thing too I want to say about adolescent treatments, and it's not all of them, it's some of them. There were some that were requiring me to be an active, acute, like violent withdrawal. It had to be my first or second day to be able to get in. And I think the way that adolescent treatment, some of it, like not, I've heard of some really amazing adolescent treatment places that were just perfect all around. Mm-hmm. But a lot of them, and like just even in California, they're so bad, and I think that's something that needs to be worked on too, because I mean it's like the fact that we still have like wilderness treatments and things like that, because one of my friends did come home from wilderness a few months ago, and she's horrible. Like it didn't do much for her, and I know people in my rehab who had gone to wilderness and it didn't do much for them either. And like I just think the way the treatment centers for certain adolescents care, it needs to be different, because like from what I've heard, it's not, they don't care about really what's going on. It's just staff working to make money.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it's not, like
working with.
Yeah, they're not working.
What is the age for adolescent care? What is it, like 14 to 18?
I think it's
under. Is it?
18 and under.
Yeah.
It is under 18. It's not 18 and under. It's under 18.
Yeah, it's under 18. But 18
now that you're 18,
I can't go.
You got nice adult rehab centers. And I will tell you, in the state of California, the regulations for adolescent treatment are so difficult, and the really, really, really good treatment centers are sometimes extremely expensive.
Yeah, that was like the only good ones I knew were crazy.
Really expensive. Now, I will say, we had an amazing girl on our podcast, lady on our podcast.
Kelly Olson.
Kelly Olson.
Good memory.
417.
Or was it Kelly Olson, or was it Dr. Kelly?
No. That's Dr. Kelly. That's not the right person. The lady from Palm Springs that had 417.
Yep, 417.
Yep. And her our TikTok, it's our viral TikTok.
Oh my gosh, what's her name?
Can you pull it up, Emily?
Save us, Emily.
The viral TikTok,
tell you what's
please. The
sad.
girl's name on the
Yeah.
viral TikTok. We only had one because, like, we're old.
Stevie. That's
Stevie.
right. Thank you.
We're old, so like for whatever reason, our TikTok's not popping. You know, her personal one is, but that's because she's famous.
Because you're gorgeous. I mean,
I love you. Right back at you.
thank you.
You know, you're a handsome dude.
Thank you. You know what, man? You ever
See what happens? They get like jealous and scared.
Ego
Thank
work.
you.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
underneath, it's-
You like that?
It's
See, I think if all three of you guys made a TikTok together, it could go viral.
We've tried.
Yeah, we've tried, but we can't do it.
Fucking, we either aren't doing something right, and we even have somebody that. Well, you know what?
Actually,
Here's
half the
the
time that
our
Emily
Gen
gives us, you
Zers.
guys, we don't do.
Our Gen Zers
Getting kinda
that are
old.
here though, they're not TikTokers.
And they're getting kind of old, actually.
You don't TikTok? Your TikTok's not viral, is it?
That's because
I think she just scrolls
It's
through
so
TikTok.
hard to
She
get
doesn't.
viral. I've
Oh,
had
for
like
sure.
one video.
I
I had one video get like 8,000 likes and it had like
Whoa.
25K views, and then another one, I don't know, it just did pretty good.
right.
It was really hard to do
Our
that.
viral
Yeah.
one went what? 700,000.
Yeah. I think Stevie did almost like 1 million.
Almost 1
Oh
million.
my gosh. That's
Yeah.
actually
It was
But
it was on adolescent treatment.
Yeah.
really?
So
Yes.
it was exactly what you wouldn't think would go viral because it's just talking.
Yeah.
So it was even more like, whoa, interesting.
Yeah.
I was really interested. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it just
this
makes
one
it just goes
went
to show,
viral.
like,
The other one that
algorithms
went
are weird.
viral was Dr. Amen, but he just goes viral, I think, because of his name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's a rehab house up in LA. That's
Really?
also, yeah, they film videos up there. And like, I don't know if you guys know who like Tana Mojo.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, it's in her old house.
What?
Yeah. So it's even funnier that they have a rehab in
wild.
in like her old house from like when she first started. Yeah. It's and then like the Hype House went there, like TikTok.
No
People from the Hype
way.
House lived there, or they made a house called the Hype House.
Yes.
Like a bunch of famous
Yep,
people.
yep.
And now it's a rehab.
Shut up.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And it's like it's got a really nice pool. It's super nice. It's a nice
That
house.
is so wild. So now, okay, so is it the Hype House is a rehab house, and then the Tana's?
Well, the Tana's old house and the Hype House were the same house.
Oh,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay,
it's
okay,
just
okay.
like there were so much. It's crazy because there was
Chaos
probably
there.
a lot of
Hell
chaos,
yeah.
a lot of drugs
All those
in there.
people probably needed to go to the rehab house.
Yeah, and they
Are
were,
any of those people in the group with where Cooper Noriega was
I think he was younger than them.
younger?
Yeah.
Do you know who
I think-
Cooper Noriega is?
I feel like
He
I've
died
heard-
from fentanyl. He was a famous TikToker.
Yeah, he was
He was local right here
yeah.
too in
he dated that one girl.
yeah,
Nessa Barrett.
No,
Yeah,
Nessa
oh,
Barrett was
that was his
his
friend.
his best
yeah.
friend.
No, I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, that was really.
His
that
dad
was
was
very
on
sad.
our podcast. Yeah, his
Seriously?
yeah.
Yeah.
We're
We're coming. We want to grab all you guys, like your age, my age, their age, everybody, because
Whoa.
Bo, don't not put me
we're all
in
the same
Shane's
age.
category of
Oh,
age. He
I was
is like
protecting all of
my.
us.
He is like
Uncle.
my.
you guys stay on the task. The
I was
task is not about
protecting
you.
all
It's
of us.
about
I
what
was
we're
saying we're
doing.
all
about
protecting
fentanyl.
Yeah.
Bro,
Thank you.
But still, you can't be
Oh,
calling me a
rude,
fucking senior
rude.
citizen because
said-
I am not quite
I
a
actually,
senior.
if you
She
run
said you guys,
Yes.
Yes.
like we
I'm
were both
mature.
senior
Yes,
citizens.
I'm mature.
He's a senior citizen. I am
if
not.
Emily ran the tape back, it's basically saying all of our age groups.
Emily has no
including
idea what's
all
going
of
on.
us
She
including
doesn't have
them.
headphones and she's got her own headphones in and is
And this-
not listening to us.
And this is what happens. You guys are totally distracting
Let's
from
focus, let's
what.
focus.
Because
already
what
been
she's
talking
saying
about.
is
I'll
nothing.
tell you what's sad.
Yeah, it
though.
is. It's saying that we're literally.
It's
talking
sad.
about-
It's sad that people have to hit a certain
Oh my
bottom
god! I
to want
literally.
to get
You
better.
guys are out of control.
That's what's sad.
Unbelievable.
When you have people doing drugs, you have people overeating, you have people abusing themselves or people being abused, yet it takes so much for them to do the 12 steps or to actually reach out to get help. It's like you have to hit some kind of...
You have to.
It's
But
like you have to hit
here's
some
the
kind of
thing I
death
want to
or
tell
something.
people, though, is like people actually just need to understand your bottom,
Yeah.
your rock bottom
Yeah.
can continue to go
Yeah.
until you put the fucking shovel down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to keep digging? Keep digging.
Yeah.
You can dig yourself all the way to death. You can dig yourself to where Wes is, our boy from our Recover Out Loud meeting, who's paralyzed from the neck down from
Yeah.
shooting heroin. Your rock bottom. Do you want that to be your rock bottom? Because your rock bottom you could be done.
Yeah.
You could be done right now.
Yeah.
And you could. The only reason you pick up that shovel is to put the dirt back in the hole.
Yeah, it's really bad because, like, with what you were saying, like, I had to get so far down to even feel like I could reach out for help. And I was doing fentanyl, which says a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work
It's
to
a lot
get
of
away
work.
from.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and a lot of people aren't ready to even say that they want to put the work in, because I mean, no matter what you're coming off of, it's a lot of work. But I don't even know.
It's a simple program, but it works.
Yeah.
To work it, and you got to get the desperation.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
How do you get but you don't
happens.
have to. That's only when you get. How do we get somebody to reach out for help before they've gotten that far, though? That's the part where like
speaking out.
your
That's
voice matters.
Yeah.
Your voice matters in saying, hey, you know what? If you're in an abusive relationship and you're 14 years old and this shit happens to you,
Yeah.
you know what? There's people out there that are willing to help, and there's people that care. You don't have to go down the same road that I went down. You know?
Yeah.
I had that. You want to know why I'm an addict? I'm an addict because I had trauma at 8, 9, 10 years old, 11 years old. And at 13, after, I smoked weed, and then I went to go pick up some weed, and my dealer was like, I don't have any weed, but I have some speed.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll try that. And I did a line of speed, and it was everything I was looking for, just like fentanyl was exactly what you were looking for. It cured everything.
Yeah.
Until it didn't, right? And that just led on to an addiction for years and years that progressed from, in my era, at 18, I picked up the needle.
Yeah.
And 18 and a half, I got arrested for the first time. And from 18 to 22, I spent 3 years behind bars.
Yeah.
And those still weren't my rock bottom. It wasn't until I was 22 years old and I had a girl pregnant and I was arrested again on my third probation violation, which was a mandatory 16 months in state prison. Yeah. And a nudge from the judge, he said, you know what, you can go to prison for 3 years today, or take 365 days in rehab. Which would you rather choose?
Rehab.
And I chose rehab.
Yeah.
And that began a change in my life. What began is that I didn't know that I had a problem because nobody really told me that there was a solution.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that there's a solution, I thought that I was going to live the rest of my life running around chasing meth, putting it in a needle and shoving it in my vein.
Yeah. I had the same thing with fentanyl because it's like, I think like a 3% recovery rate from it. And I don't know. I think I'm the only person I know my age that's actually gotten sober from it. And like I mean, pretty much successfully. Like, I'm here and I'm doing a lot better than I've ever done. And you're right. Like, I didn't see anybody getting sober from it or know anybody getting sober from it. And that made it almost impossible for me to feel like, oh, I can get sober. Because seeing nobody, the only way I've ever seen people make it out of fentanyl is either dying or never. Like, you either die or you don't make it out. And it's what I had been told majority of the time too. And like, I really agree with that. You really need to be able to see somebody being able to do it for it to be like,
and watch
for you to
them
be able to like reach out.
for sure. And I have to be honest, like, it's great. Like, you can see people like Natalie, myself, Shane, we changed our lives, right? I mean, I was like homeless, freaking junkie, stealing, trying to sell drugs. I was really bad at it because I used them all.
Yeah, me too.
That's how it always happens.
You can see us that we've changed our lives, but can you completely relate to somebody my age, but somebody your age can relate to you? Like, wow,
yeah,
I want what she has.
I hope so, because, like, I mean, I know I said I didn't graduate and everything earlier. Like, I finally I'm getting my stuff figured out.
Yeah, but that's your story, and that's important because people are going to relate to exactly that, because this is what happened why I didn't graduate, is because my time was so consumed in chasing that high and escaping what was really going on, going to school and being present. Yeah. And, like, having that's why I say the courage of you to share your story is exactly what it's all about, is because somebody your age is going to be able to understand that what they're going through, they're not alone. Because that's really what it is. You start to ask for help when you realize, like, oh, I'm not the only one that feels like this, or I'm not the only one that's gone through this, because of hearing someone like yourself at their similar age group, because it is important. The only one I never knew fentanyl was as significant as it was until I moved and started going to AA meetings out in Texas where I live.
Yeah.
And the vast majority of newcomers that were coming in was shocking to me, because all I would hear about was their drug of choice was fentanyl. And I never had really heard that before until then. And then, like I was saying, my sponsee, that's what she was coming off of, and that's what she got off of. And that's when I really was like, whoa. And then obviously then I met these guys, and then came back out here, and how it just ramped up times a million.
It like triples so much faster than I've seen like a lot of other things, and it's continuously getting harder.
Yeah.
Like it's continuously getting harder every single day. And sorry, I'm sending a text to my brother. He called me. But I haven't been to any meetings where I've heard people talk about being a fentanyl addict at all. Everybody, like over here, I've been to a few NA meetings. I've been to like Cocaine Anonymous. Yeah. It's not talked about. Like it's actually really crazy to me, because I've seen other states talk about it a lot more. But I think the hard part with California too in this area is the whole, like, a lot of these kids come from very wealthy families, and their families are very like, if you do this, like, you're gonna be a disgrace to the entire family. And I know a few kids like that, and it's really hard, but it's really sad. Yeah. Like, I don't know, it's just back to what I was saying basically earlier. It's just the whole, it's really it's hard to watch these kids go through all of this, because nobody wants to talk about it here. Like, at all. And I'm glad we are. Like, I'm glad, like, because I've watched a bunch of the episodes from you guys, and like just hearing the amount of talk there is about pretty much everything. It's really, really refreshing from somebody who hears absolutely, like, the only times I ever really hear stuff are at meetings, which is really sad. And like nobody goes online to talk about it. Nobody goes in person to talk about it either. Like, unless they're talking to a therapist. I've seen some people online talk about their like journey and just get shamed off the internet. I don't know, it's just, the stigma is really bad. And I'm glad that like in Texas though there were a bunch of people talking about it.
Like a lot of the they're all obviously like really a lot like younger. But the significance of that specific drug was like kind of eye-opening to me with how vast it's just like spreading everywhere. And then kind of like what Chad was saying, you know, that's why we really have decided, like, we recover out loud, because people are dying. Well, and that's what's happening.
That's what's crazy is those are the only people whose voices you're hearing are the people that are loud and sad. You know, you're not hearing someone who's kind of maybe kids on the street and they're embarrassed. They're not running or screaming at the top of their lungs.
No, because they're embarrassed.
They're embarrassed
because there's a stigma attached to it, and that's why the Hopeaholics exist. That is the second key point to our mission, is to break the stigma of mental health and addiction. Like, bro, look at the lives that Natalie, Chad, Shane, and countless others have accomplished because we got sober and we have a fucking superpower. This dude right here, that one, he has got mental health issues up the wazoo. But he's funny as fuck. He learned how to deal with them. He had a crack addiction because he was just figuring out what was going on in his head. Now
feel great.
He does feel great. And when was the last time you smoked crack?
17 years.
17 years ago.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. Thank you.
I mean, Natalie's constantly saying, what is she constantly saying? Shane, stop. Shane, all day.
All day.
Oh, because of the jokes?
Yeah.
So your mom, how's she feeling now? Your dad, are they in your life? Are they
proud?
Pushing you in a different direction? Are you open to their are you more open to their suggestions, which is so difficult?
Suggestions or guidance?
Guidance.
Yeah.
Words matter.
Difficult. At any age.
At any age.
At any age,
yeah.
man. It's difficult to hear from your mom or your dad or anything.
Yeah.
How are you doing with that?
So, I mean, it's actually, I mean, my relationships are obviously 10 times better now.
Yeah.
Like, I get along with my mom a lot more.
And then your
we're
brother
hanging out
called you, so obviously
Yeah.
he loves you.
Yeah, my brother and I, we had I mean, when he moved out a few
Yeah.
years ago, we weren't really close. And then when I went to rehab, he was like,
There.
he was there a lot. He was trying as hard as he could. Like, he had to be approved on a phone list, and they wouldn't approve him for some reason. But he was begging to get on the phone list, and like we'd sneak our calls, and like
Yeah.
I'd talk to him. But it's a lot easier to talk to my family now, and like I think there's also a barrier that was broken between like the entire family of just like, if we need help, we can say it now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think my brother, or I hope my brother feels more comfortable saying
kinda
that he needs
cool.
help. I've had, not to air his friends out, but
Yeah.
his friends have called me for help and have come to a few meetings
Wow.
with me.
Wow.
And I mean, I think it's honestly just helped my family with it's helped us all talk more, which I
Yeah.
think saves a lot of relationships, because it's like you're gonna fight with people. That is normal. It matters how you're fighting with them and how you guys handle it, but you guys are gonna argue, like it's family. But I don't know, I take advice a lot better. That's one thing
Yeah.
too,
Smart.
is that
Smart.
I'm taking a lot more things.
Yeah.
And I'm also understanding a lot more,
Oh, good for you.
which
man.
is
Good for
really
you.
helpful. I also see life in a different way.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand where my parents are coming from a lot more on certain things. They may not see it because I get very
Sure.
shy talking to them sometimes. But there's just a lot more of an understanding between like my mom, my dad, and I too, which is
I got
really
another
helpful.
stupid question.
No, it's okay. I love stupid questions.
How about God?
Hmm?
How about God?
My relationship with God has gotten a lot better too. I've had a very, very weird relationship with God over the
Yeah.
past few years. But it's a lot better now. Like my understanding of a God and everything like that. I actually feel like I'm meant to be here, which is something I haven't felt since I was conscious and since
Wow.
I can remember.
Yeah, man.
Not wanting to be here and feeling out of place. I'm starting to find my place
Yeah.
and figure out what I was meant for, and like trusting something that is not yourself is kind of hard. And like is not something that you can see or know is really hard, but
Yes.
learning to do that is really beautiful for me, because my life is changing a lot and I'm starting to heal from things that I didn't think I would ever heal from.
For sure.
And my want for anything other than like speaking to a God when I'm upset is like very low. Like I don't want to do drugs, I don't want to drink, I don't want to act out either.
Yeah.
Because like it's like I'm very mentally ill, and sometimes
No,
like
I'm
I'll
with
just
ya.
get violently angry and want to freak
Yeah.
out, but like letting go and giving it to God has helped me like
Wow.
so much. Like I'm very, very, very grateful for the program that I'm in, and like my meeting, my sponsor. Like honestly, this has saved my life more than I thought it ever would, because you see AA meetings on TV and rehab on TV, and it's like it's really boring in my opinion, the
Yeah,
way
for
they
sure.
portray it. And then like I go to my meeting and everybody up there is like, fuck shit, bitch.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
this is so funny.
Yeah.
And it's just really nice, and I'm really glad I have a relationship with God
Good for
finally,
you.
because I never did.
I thank you for saying that,
Yeah.
because you know what? Fuck shit, bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck shit, bitch is like necessary
Yeah.
sometimes. Like it really is. And Chuck Zamzow from our
Zamzow.
we have an online group every
Zamzow. Sorry,
Tuesday,
I have to say
every
it twice.
Tuesday night
I might say it again.
at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Mess.
We have people from all over the country, actually all over the world, Canada, here, a couple other countries. But Chuck always says
Zamzow.
we are not a glum lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like
what
we're
he
not a
does.
glum
We're not.
lot. I mean, that's mostly they say that in Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm more of an NA dude, because that's just the program that I
I've
was
never
into.
been to NA.
Yeah.
I've been to NA, AA.
I have
PA.
It doesn't matter as
CA.
long as you're
Yeah.
not sitting in front of the DA. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
They're all
There you
about
go.
they're all about the
I just
steps.
got off probation because of
Hell
my,
yeah.
like,
Amazing.
program and
Yeah.
everything, which was I've been on it for 2 years. So
I wanted to
That's
tell you
amazing.
one amazing tool about feelings, because you said you've been doing a pretty good job at not acting out. I just want to give you a tool. One of the best tools is to just remember that I'm in the midst of a feeling,
Yeah.
And like, it's just a feeling and it will pass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything does.
Like, it is not what
Permanent.
we think it is.
Yeah.
The way you feel at that very moment is it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned is, like, I have learned, and it's taken a long process, because I used to hate the feeling of sadness, grief, because those were also, they felt painful to me inside.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if I was gonna do this or not, but today happens to be the 2-year death day of my son-in-law, and I cried a lot this morning, not because of like real grief, but because of the stuff that is happening on the internet, and just his memories, and I miss him. And if you would have told me that I would be okay missing him and crying and feeling this way 10 years ago, I'd have been like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that, I would be. I love it. I love to sit there for a bit, and because I know it's going to pass, and I actually love to just feel, you know? And then I went in and I started reading. I posted something this morning, and then I went in and started reading the comments, and it was like, this freaking thing's blowing up. And it's like, I know that everything that we're doing in this room right here, his hand is in.
Yeah.
Like, even the fact that you're here today on the day that he died 2 years later, he was 26 years old. My daughter at the time when she found him dead was 21. People your age need to relate to what you're going through. And it's important that your voice is heard, which it will be heard. Because you've said a lot of good stuff today.
Thank you.
A ton.
A lot of
Thank
good
you.
stuff. And somebody's life is going to be saved because you were brave enough to DM us and say, hey, can I come down? We scheduled you. I had no idea what the day that you were scheduled, because Catherine did it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a God wink.
It is a God
Yeah.
wink.
I look at all that stuff as a little like nudge, you know?
Yeah.
Keep on staying the course.
And I'll tell
All
you
of
something,
us.
man. It just goes to say that even through tragedy or any pain or discomfort, there's a reason for it. We might not know what the plan is for a year or a month or a day or a week until it comes to us, like it came to you, the reason for this podcast to exist.
Yeah.
There always is.
There's always going to be a reason
is.
behind something. We just need to wait and have our eyes open and grab it when it comes.
Well, one of the things that I realized a few weeks back, and I said it in one of our talks, and now it's kind of stuck with me, and I wrote it today, and I truly mean this, and it's true, and I kind of hate saying it, but like, I knew Justin really well. I knew what an amazing human being he was. Fucking shit's hard to say, but if he would have laid down his life to save all the lives that are being saved,
Exactly.
and that's a fact. That's who he is. That's who he was.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like, just, I'm like, everything you've been doing because of that, and just like, I don't know, everything I've seen from your guys' podcast has been really helpful to me, even recently, just because like once I initially reached out, I started listening to it just to get an understanding of everything. But seriously, like, I think that this podcast is amazing for so many reasons, because like, I think this is a good way to reach people. I think this is the best way to reach people, honestly, because you're not going to be able to go up to a person and talk to them about it, and you're not going to be able to call them out and be like,
Totally.
hey, like, I know you're not doing well, but people will tune in and listen, and we don't even have to, like, you guys might not even know who they are.
Yeah.
But, and I mean, from what at least I think, it's saving them and it's helping them. And one thing I also want to say is that being able to feel emotion is a very, very, like, special thing. I think a lot of people, like, I didn't realize it, and I took it for granted for a while, but I think being able to feel and cry and be upset and feel pain is so beautiful. and it shouldn't be like, I mean, just the way you took sadness and pain and turned it into this, like, this is amazing. And it shouldn't have to be like, oh, this really hurt me, so I'm gonna sit in it and be hurt even for like forever. Like, it's okay to be hurt sorry, I'm like falling over my words, but like, it's okay to be hurt and to sit in it for a little bit, but you don't have to make it your life, and you can make something absolutely amazing out of it. And I think people forget that a lot of the time.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah.
I would have never met these guys without Justin.
Yeah.
If what happened and like he didn't feel to move in this way, I wouldn't be sitting here. I'd be in Texas living my life, not doing what I'm like.
Boring life.
Not really. My shit was off the chain. So check yourself. But it's important because I will always remember Justin because he brought me here. Yeah. And I feel like that was my calling without me knowing at the time, to be a voice for people that suffer from the same thing that we all suffer from. And it's not only like, number one, obviously to spread the fentanyl epidemic and get that out there. But for so long, I lived in this like a shameful, like, I don't want people to know this thing about me. Now I sit amongst these guys and I'm proud of being an addict and an alcoholic. I'm proud that I work a 12-step program. I'm proud of the work that I do. Do I work it perfectly? No, but I'm going to hold on to my seat, because if I don't, then I'm going to crumble everything that I've ever built, because doing the program has brought me the life beyond my wildest dreams.
Exactly. I think it's brought so many people.
So many.
I
think that there's a Friday or a Sunday, I don't know when we do our stuff, but we can invite her to be a speaker. It's 90
for sure.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to.
She's working a program. Sure.
Not only that, but I want to get
your.
your number so you could let me know what meetings you go to.
Yeah.
Because now that I'm out here, I need to hit meetings too.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in
Really
your life.
cool.
If you're going through a rough time, you got her number. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say, give her a buzz. Fucking, it don't matter when.
Yeah. And then for sure, come roll through our Recover Out
Yeah,
Loud.
for sure. Be a speaker
and
for
we
us.
do speaker meetings here. Or we
Yeah.
started. We only had one. So
We've only had one so far.
Yeah.
Our second
Yeah.
one is October 4th.
and Chad
And
will
I'm
start his
speaking.
Yeah.
testimony.
Okay.
Then Natalie.
Nope.
Then you.
Maybe me.
I'm the 25th.
I mean, I'm
we'll
gonna
figure
pull
out.
in like Danny Lansdale or something to
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just to help.
Yeah. I agree. I'm only gonna go for 3 to 5 minutes.
No, you're not. You're going 17.
No way.
Yeah, fuck
no,
yeah.
I don't think so.
Come on.
All right, maybe.
You can do
all right,
17.
I could do it.
I think you should start at the beginning.
Yeah, I will.
Hockey.
Hockey.
Your mom whipping you with the
Yeah.
stick.
Oh, God.
Start right from the beginning.
We can go on
But-
fun tangents if you
Yeah.
want, because
No,
I had
no,
coffee.
I got it. No,
I love the fun tangents.
Yeah.
It's my favorite.
I mean, we're actually trying not to be a boring ass fucking podcast.
Yeah.
You guys aren't though.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
I
you
don't
guys.
I don't have a very high like attention span, but I was able to sit through like 4 or 5 of them at a time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to just quickly go over what you just said, because like it is so true about the fact that we're helping people that we don't even know, and because we have had numerous people DM us, and we do answer every single one of our DMs. Eventually, we get to all of them. We have had people get sober just listening to this podcast,
Which is
like
amazing.
binge watching the podcast for like a week to fucking
Or hang on. People
just
in
to
treatment.
people hanging on.
Keeping keeping their seat, because
It is really
obviously
cool.
at the very beginning.
And that's the coolest thing to me, because like we don't get paid to do this podcast.
Yeah.
You know, we do it
Hopefully we will.
we do it
God.
out of the
God,
Hopefully.
we do it out of the just because,
Yeah.
you know.
Also, it keeps us sober. Like that's the thing.
Exactly.
Is like that's why you're being of service. The 12th step is, even though it's helping somebody else, but truly, it helps me
Yeah.
stay sober and do what I'm supposed to do and give what was so freely given to me.
You know what? I don't even like saying it stay sober, because just a small
No, it
piece of
is.
it. That's a small piece of
Sobriety is just
It's a small piece
of
of your
it.
life. It's a piece of your life that makes your whole life better, but it's a slice, and it's actually your mental health.
All
your
of
good
it.
All of that.
Your fitness.
Your fitness.
Being
your-
of service is the ultimate
It's
thing.
the ultimate.
When people
That's it
feel
for
depressed,
everybody. Yes.
it literally does chemical releasing
Yeah,
in
let's
your
make
brain.
it for everybody.
Having had
Yeah,
a
this is-
spiritual awakening
is
for
as a
everybody.
result of these steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It is- it's
continue
for
to carry this message to others. I'll just say others,
Suffer.
Yeah.
and practice these principles in all our affairs.
Affairs? I don't
Yeah.
have affairs.
God, dude,
Christ, I'm married, happily married, man. What are you talking about? What the hell
the
is this book
wives.
saying?
Yeah.
to the Wives, great chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that kind of a fair
I know,
shame.
I'm just
Oh.
kidding. I know somebody who changed the entire, or supposedly somebody in our meeting changed the entirety of like in the book when it says like he,
Oh
she changed it to
gosh.
she.
Wow.
So she made the entire
I
book
get
just
it.
like written
Sure.
toward women, which I think is really funny.
That's
Sorry.
hilarious.
That's all right.
That's
Little-
amazing.
It is
Little
funny.
side
And,
tangent.
the,
Whatever.
and,
If it worked for her,
and,
cool.
Yeah.
and the thing
Who cares?
is that like even back in the old day, they always wrote he, even if it was like she.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know the writing, and that was like
Even the big book is
Bible, too.
the Bible. I know that's actually the book I was referring to.
oh yeah.
But the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, like I don't even know what the heck it says sometimes.
Neither do I. Obviously, I feel like the only thing that's really easily understandable is like the personal stories in the back.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like, I was trying to read. I can't even think. I was reading We Agnostics again,
Yeah.
Okay.
and I was just sitting there like, why did like they revised this like recently? Didn't
Could they
like,
put it
5,
in
10
like
years ago?
in 20 at least like 2000 language?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be like 2024 language where you use words like bet and mid and cap
Cap,
and no cap.
Riz.
Yeah.
Riz, I don't know what that one is.
That one, Riz is like you, isn't it? You got game or like you got
Yeah,
like.
it's-
We just
Riz.
figured out that Shane's a bop.
Razzle dazzle. That's what
Wait.
this is.
Shane's a bop.
How are you a bop?
He just is.
He's a whore or a hoe.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
He's a hoe. I mean, not.
I
a-
mean,
I'm
like,
married now. I'm married.
I'm so out of touch with
I-
those trends. It's
I
funny.
retired. I retired.
Emily's like looking over
I'm
here.
no
Shit.
longer-
That was funny, right?
No.
I'm no
Shit's
I'm
longer,
like,
funny.
Don't
no longer
do it,
Mr.
don't
Ho.
do it.
I will tell you that my shit's what is it? Demure?
Demure. Oh gosh.
Gee,
Huh?
Very
My shit's
demure,
my fit shit's
mindful.
very demure.
I can't.
Huh?
Stop.
Why are they laughing at me?
It's coming. It's going out right now. Demure.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's because you want you
Stop. You're it's out
you want to
now.
know you want to know why it's
Your
going
age
out?
just came in.
You want to know why it's
No,
going
it's
out?
not, 'cause
Because
you're old.
older people
Yeah.
are starting to use it on TikTok.
Well, it's that, and it's so overused. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, literally every video, very demure,
Yeah.
very respectful.
Yeah.
and
Very
I'm just-
mindful.
I'm like, please stop.
Yeah.
I get it. Somebody just said that the last video.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Can't we just use like when we were young, instead of saying good, we would say that's bad.
She could speak for me first.
What do you?
She could come
no,
first.
because I'm not here on the 11th.
Oh,
I'm
that's
here.
you want to be here. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah,
Sorry, buddy.
that's all right. I would never leave.
I
you out.
think we should
You're not
all
gonna
have
be here on the
openers.
11th, and why am I speaking? If
Okay,
you-
don't.
I should do it the week after.
Fine, then me and Chad will just go 4th and 25th. If you want to be a loser.
No, I don't be. No, I'm saying I want.
I think
to do
she's gone 2 Fridays in a row.
I want to do it, but I'd rather you be here. So it's a
Okay, well,
family.
we
That's
haven't put
fine.
it out there anymore, so
We haven't
can
put
figure
yours
it
out there.
Yeah, we'll
That
figure
was
it
just
out.
what it was when we
Yeah.
were doing
Okay,
it
yeah.
over at the other
we'll
place
figure it
that
out.
we.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyways,
Do you like
Thank-
our clock?
the clock.
Yeah.
the clock.
That's so sick.
You want
Yes.
it? You want it?
No, you can't have it.
I'm
no.
just saying.
Jesus.
I was just asking. We would buy her one as a
Oh.
It's
gift.
very cool.
Very cool.
See, it really fits the room.
We also want to know because
See, I'm past that.
I feel like you're at this age group where we need to make sure she has some swag
Yeah,
so that
I'm gonna get her shirt right now. I like
Yeah.
it.
right now. But you
shirt,
got to
yeah.
ask her, does she like it oversized?
I'm gonna get her shirt and a
undersized?
sweatshirt.
Well, no,
A
let's.
little oversized, maybe.
What size?
I like oversized. If you're doing a sweatshirt,
Oh, yeah,
I
get
would
her a-
prefer-
and
get
a,
her
and a
sweatshirt.
t-shirt.
But a shirt, just do like a.
Like a small?
Yeah, I was gonna say like a smaller medium.
Small and a medium sweatshirt.
No,
No, we can-
no
we
sweatshirt.
can-
She wants oversized.
Yeah.
To be like at least a large on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, a large is
Large
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
Small.
Large sweatshirt.
And a
Yeah.
Small shirt.
Thank you.
We can end the podcast.
Without Shane, yeah.
Yeah,
We're done.
Good spot.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And obviously, just even going off of what you were talking about with the program and like where you're at, clearly you're walking through it with your sponsor.
Yeah.
I can totally tell. And that's what I think is a beautiful thing about the program is certain things you're going to start seeing even more things about yourself get revealed.
Yeah.
And then that makes you go like, oh shit.
Brings a lot of healing.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. And I wish you nothing but continued just doing the thing and
Thank
being a light for other people
Thank
and
you.
letting them know that they can too grab what you're grabbing right now.
Yeah, I really want people to know that,
Sure.
because fentanyl addiction is way too much. I feel like it's way too much for people to like, or just people think it's too much to talk about, and it's really not. And it's okay. It's okay to have a drug addiction, and it's okay
100%.
not to be okay.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad I learned that young, and I
For
think
sure.
that something that everybody needs to just start to like understand
Totally.
is that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
And it's almost like shows you're human.
Yep. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you guys for having
Yeah.
me.
Thank
for
you.
Sure.